Hey guys, how is it going? Carter here. Got a video for you. This is going to be a little bit more talk on the Sebenza 25. Pardon any background noise. I'm kind of doing some laundry and just really wanted to do this video. You can see that I purchased the Hinder Stonewashed Titanium Blue bead right here from Monkey Edge. Really nice bead. Definitely a departure from my usual skulls that I've been putting on everything. This knife is a little classier. Needed a classier bead on here. As you can see, I simply cut off the old lanyard and tied this new one on. One of the great features with the 25 is you don't need to take it apart to switch out the lanyard, and you aren't left with a hole, an empty hole, if you do not want a lanyard on your knife. It actually looks really nice without a lanyard too. You have a cool little barrel spacer right here with no extra holes or anything. Speaking of extra holes, they also did away with the machining hole that used to be on the Sebenza right here, that matched up with this relief hole for the cutout. So you got a nice clean look right here. Before I get too far into talking about this a little more, let's say my impressions of this knife over the last couple days. I've been carrying it and using it. Is excellent. I love this knife. Absolutely love this knife. I think I'm going to do a separate video on whether I would recommend this knife, because it's a little complex of an issue, just because of the fan base of the Sebenza. People that have a history of the Sebenza compared to somebody just getting into them are going to have different impressions of this knife, probably. But just, you know, in a nutshell, absolutely love this blade, love everything about it. It is awesome. I love it. If there's one thing I could say that differentiates it from the regular Sebenza, is it just feels blockier, chunkier, heavier, and kind of it has a different feel. It's pretty interesting. The changes on it are not that crazy. You have a thicker blade stock. The titanium is the same thickness. You have a bigger pivot than the regular Sebenza. But other than that, I mean, it's overall it's the same dimensions. It's not that it's a much larger knife. It's the exact same blade length, same overall length, more or less the same handle ratio. It's a little bit wider this way, but a little bit thinner this way. But it just, those subtle differences, it just feels chunkier. It has a much different feel. The regular Sebenza is a lot more kind of delicate feeling. Not that it's a delicate knife, it's a very strong, robust knife, but it does feel a little bit more kind of refined. And I think a lot of that comes from the handle design on here, as well as possibly even the flat ground blade. Just the way it catches the light, it just, you know, something about a flat ground blade just seems more robust, even visually, than a hollow ground blade, which is what's on the regular Sebenza. It just, I don't know, it's a lot more straight angles than the regular Sebenza, I guess. You have a lot more beveling work here, and it really just changes the feel and the look of this knife. So it is a much different feeling knife than the regular Sebenza. You also don't quite get, you know, when you open it, you get a lot more thunkier sound as opposed to the regular Sebenza. And that's due to the oversized ceramic ball that's used for the detent as well as the lock interface. That ceramic ball is going to give you a very long-lasting lockup. It may not necessarily be the lockup of choice for spine whack tests, just because, well, I'm not going to get into that, but just keep that in mind. But of course, this knife is not meant to be whacked on the spine, nor is any knife, any folding knife. Probably shouldn't have even brought that up, but I did. But yeah, definitely a different feeling knife. It is more heavy. It is heavier due to the thicker stock, as you can see. And for some reason, this stock seems thicker than the Omnumzon, even though from the numbers, I mean, it's the exact same. I think it has to do with just the way it is ground, you know, the blade profile. It seems a lot thicker. That seems like a very thick blade, even though it is the same as the Omnumzon. So that adds weight, as well as the flat ground. Technically, it's not flat ground. It is a hollow ground, but just so shallow He uses a much larger wheel that, for all intents and purposes, it's a flat ground blade. So that adds weight too. But it doesn't make it, I'm not saying it's a heavy knife or that it's overly heavy. I'm just saying you can tell the difference. You can tell that it is got a little bit more weight to it than the regular Sebenza. It does take a little bit to get it broken in. It will be rather stiff when you first get it. Mine, the pivot was tightened a little too tight. So after I loosened that up, it really made it a lot smoother. This does not have the bushing system the Sebenza has, so you can crank this down all the way and basically completely immobilize the blade. Why he went away from the bushing system, I don't know. It doesn't bother me. I mean, the bushing system was cool, I guess, but this does give you a few more options. Some people like their blade really light and smooth. Some people like them with more tension on it. It also gives you the option, if you're shipping international, some countries like Australia, their customs will actually do a test where if they can flick the blade down with force, like that, they consider it a gravity knife, and it is confiscated. So oftentimes when you ship to places like Australia, you will tighten the pivot down so that that can't happen. I know it's dumb, but that's how it is. So with a bushing knife, you really can't do that, because no matter how tight you make it, it doesn't get any smoother. But that is a difference. It has more aggressive jimping. You can see it has an alternating jimping pattern. It actually goes, if we want to focus here, camera, it goes deep, light, light, deep, light, light, deep. You can see how it has an alternating pattern. That's a lot more aggressive. Has this cutout here. Haven't heard definitively what that's for. Doesn't bother me. Some people really do not like that. Does not bother me. It's fine. I'm going to do probably a separate video on whether or not I recommend this over the regular 21, because it's a fairly complex issue. But you know, I don't think anybody would be disappointed after picking this up. The only hesitation I would have is if you already have a 21, or if you already have an Umnumzon. This may not be different enough to justify purchasing this knife, but if you don't have either of those, then absolutely, I would definitely go with one of these. They are outstanding. It's an outstanding knife. It really is. The quality, the features, the feel, it's just absolutely amazing. I've heard mixed things about whether this is going to replace the 21 or not. Some people astutely say absolutely not. It will not replace it. Other people say yes, it will, but over a long period of time. And then other people say, no, yeah, it will. It'll totally replace it soon. So I don't know. Word's still out, you know, or the verdict is still out as to whether this is replacing the regular 21 or not. Also, if they're going to do a small version of this, if they're going to do inlays, who knows? But I can say that this as a knife is excellent. I absolutely love it. I love the bigger pivot. Not because I need a bigger pivot, it's just, it looks nice. I like it. I like the way it looks. It looks cool. I love the finger choils. The ergonomics are outstanding. I do not have a problem with this pocket clip. It does not dig into me, even if I squeeze the crap out of this thing. Nope, perfectly comfortable for me. Not any complaints whatsoever ergonomics. I would say this is more ergonomic than the regular 21 for me. Blade shape is about the same, slightly different. It's a little bit wider or taller, however you want to say it. But such a small change, it's almost comical, because you literally have to stare back and forth between the regular one, or the 21 and the 25, to notice the small change. And that kind of characterizes this knife. A lot of very tiny changes, to the point where you almost say, why bother? But at the same token, it's pretty interesting how different this knife feels. On paper, it is so similar, you would think, why even make a knife so similar yet be different? But when you hold it, definitely has a different feel to it. Yeah, so it's pretty interesting. But yeah, I absolutely love this knife. I'm going to carry it and carry it and carry it, use it. Like that lanyard too. Looks really nice. Alright guys, that's it for this video. I will be doing some comparison videos, and then I'll probably do a do I recommend you buying this knife? Because like I said, it's a complex issue. Alright guys, take it easy.